What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Podcast here, presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Make sure you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY, along with Derek Bogner, Kyle Newbeck. I'm Devon Givens, president of basketball operations. Bree is here.
That's
as we
right.
are on the road. Summer League Sixers. We're here in Las Vegas, and they have a new player for the Summer Sixers. That is one New Jersey native, Dominick Barlow, signing on a two-way contract, fellas, to join the Philadelphia 76ers. He joins on the two-way with Hunter Salas and also Walker. That is also in there with the two-way. So that means Alex Reese, it seems, not a part of the Sixers for the two-way, at least. So, Derek, your thoughts on Dominick Barlow as a front court player coming in on a two-way contract for Daryl Morey and the Sixers?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like a combo 4-5 in that he is not a huge rim protector, even though he's 6'10" with pretty long arms. Never been a really great rim protector. But he struggled with his three-point shot. So there's a little bit of positional uncertainty there. That being said, I think he's shown some semblance of a jumper in terms at least free throws in the past. He's been decent at. Has never really translated the game, but I think maybe there's some hope there. But really, it's just he's a high-effort player. He is going to give you everything that he has. He moves decently well. It's really just come down to the fact that he's never really established the jumper well enough to be like that's a surefire four, and he doesn't really protect the rim enough to be like that's a guy who can't play the four. So I think that's your questions there are, can he shoot well enough to stick at an NBA level? If he does do that, then I think there's some nice positional versatility in the fact that you can slide him from the 4 and 5. Even if not, though, I think there's some, a relatively high floor just because he is a pretty big body, because he does move decently well, and he does give you really good effort. So I like him as a two-way guy. If he does figure out the shot, he can be more than that. If not, there's no risk to it. But I like it.
There's a little bit of yin and yang with him and Jabari Walker. So when we talked about Walker, it was all about the defensive rebounding. He's a guy who ends possessions, right? Has some defensive versatility, switchability on the perimeter, right? Barlow is in more of the pure front court mold. I tried to say both words at the same time.
Sound like me, man.
Turn them into one word.
Sound like
front
me.
court. So Barlow is more of a true front court guy. He's also more of an offensive rebounder, right? He's a guy that every year in the league, admittedly low sample size, but his offensive rebound rate has been like 10% or higher every single year. He's somebody who can mix it up in there, certainly has more size than a lot of the guys that they have that would potentially be playing minutes at the 4 or even playing in a pinch at the 5. So I think the way that they've gone about using their resources on two ways, I really like, right? So Hunter Salas is the guy coming out of college, right? He's an interesting perimeter, 3-level scorer, potential prospect, and that's just like your developmental guy. Mm-hmm. The other two guys are, while certainly they're developmental because they're still young, they're guys with 3 years of NBA experience while still being 21, 22 years old. They have definable NBA skills, mostly just rebounding the basketball. They have enough size to offer some versatility at multiple positions. And they've taken flyers on, crazy athletes coming out of school, on different players, on these two-way type of deals. But this year, with the way the roster situation shook out, it just made more sense to aim for, while maybe it's not like you're going to turn this guy into a star, they have two guys now on two-way deals that I think if you need them to play spot NBA minutes, you can call them in, and they're not going to blow you away, but they can play a role. They can come in and next to Joel Embiid, next to Paul George, next to Maxey, play 10 to 12 minutes in a pinch, and you feel much better about that than, no disrespect to Alex Reese, but relying on an Alex Reese, relying on Darius Baisley has been on a two-way and around before, right? A guy who's more of an idea than he is a basketball player, great athlete, good tools, but never really figured out a definable niche. Barlow and Walker both have a definable niche. It also happens to line up with one that the Sixers are in desperate need of.
You just sounded like you sort of described power forward Jeff Doughton. A 4A type player.
Yeah, and I think
that's right.
Power forward Jeff Doughton is appealing on this team, right? Guard Jeff Doughton, no thank you. He's also older than these guys, which is a pretty important thing as well. But I think that makes a lot of sense to think of it that way. Devon, where are you at on this one?
No, so he's a guy that I'm curious to see how it plays out. You always root for the local guys, New Jersey
He went
native.
to prep, right?
Yes. Yeah. So local guy coming back and seeing how it plays out. I'm curious because he wasn't always a player that, just to be transparent, wasn't always one that I loved as a player. You could see the stuff that's in there, why he's so intriguing by the NBA, by the organization, by the scouts and all, to want to take a chance on him and see it, to see if they are the ones that can always crack the code, right? There's always, Derek, that, hey, if you get him in my building, I'll fix it, I can correct it. And he has all of that stuff. So if the stuff, as we say, if it pops, then it might pop at a really high rate, and you found a diamond there in that rough. Not to the level of where we're talking about a starting player or we're talking about an all-star level player.
Guy.
Just talking about a rotational guy that can come in that can solve some problems that this team had a season ago on the glass with some size to do that and to take some minutes up that they just simply needed. Having Darius Baisley and O'Shea Brissett starting at the 5 and also having Alex Reese play some extended minutes in those spots, you don't want to run into that problem again. And it also goes right into what Daryl Morey said at the end of the season. While we talk about all the guards, more athletic, long, lengthy big men on this roster that are still young and that they maybe can get their hands on and develop. So he fits right into that at the age of 22. Also, Jabari Walker, still young enough with some NBA experience. And then the rest of the guys that they already have currently on the roster. So it makes sense. And so when you're taking a two-way shot like this, I have no problem with it.
And I'll add a couple more quick things. One, granted, it's really small sample size because even in his best year, he's playing like 15 minutes, right, in his appearances. But his second year with San Antonio, there were a few more playmaking flashes from him, just like assist rate is up. And you go to Atlanta, that's more like, hey, Trae Young is running the show. And so maybe there's some untapped playmaking you can, especially in the front court, right? Front court is not a heavy playmaking position. Maybe you get a bit of that from him. You bring him along. Sixers have done pretty well developing some ancillary skills for their bigs. We saw with the Dembona. The other thing is, too, some guys don't want to be home or close to home when they enter the league, right? It's just, for whatever influences, hangers on, whatever. But some guys also thrive when they come back home. Some guys, like Justin Edwards was a great example. He struggles at Kentucky, comes home. It's like, how will he respond to this? And it looked like he was just comfortable being by where he grew up, where he knows things. Like he doesn't have to think so much about all the rest of it. Focus on basketball. So maybe that's a little bit of it for him. Like simplify your life, think about the game, and just take off as a role player. Who knows?
So if I had to ask you, the only NBA player from a season ago to record a double-double on perfect shooting, obviously I'm saying it. Who
I
is
wonder
that?
who it could be.
Who could it be?
It could even be Dominic Barlow.
It could be. And what team did he do that against, Derek?
Who was it, Devon?
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Look
Isn't
at that.
how it always goes? They have their best game. Bring him in.
Now
Bring
you
him
just got to get Sixers killer Chris Boucher.
Yes, you do. Well, Sixers fans do want that. So Dominic Barlow, the two-way contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. Alex Reese, unfortunately, his Sixers career comes to an end. Dominic Barlow in. The 3 two-ways are Dominic Barlow, Jabari Walker, and Hunter Salas. We'll see how it plays out. We thank you for hanging out with us here on the PHLY Sixers Podcast as we cover the Summer Sixers live from Las Vegas. As always, we're presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY if you're in need of some help. For Derek, Kyle, and Bree, I'm Devon. We'll catch up with you later right here on the PHLY Sixers Podcast.